Okay, that brings us to our next item on this evening's agenda, also a request for determination of applicability
Right there.
That's what I was looking for.
filed by William D. Clapp, subject property located off Mattapoisett Neck Road. Chair will entertain a motion to waive the reading of the legal ad.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Francis, second by Mr. Dickerson, all in favor?
Aye.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's Mr. DeVignen today?
I'm good, thank you. For the record, I'm Dave DeVignen from Schneider DeVignen Leone. I have the green cards.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm here representing Bill Clapp. His dad owns this property. He's in an estate. He's the executor and trustee. It's a simple request for determination where we are seeking a negative box 2. And we're not proposing any work other than routine maintenance of the existing lawn areas which have been historically mowed. This is a follow-up filing to a prior notice of intent where we proposed cutting towards the water side of that opening. That was appealed by an abutter. It requires a MIPA filing, and it requires a very long road to permitting, so we are, or have withdrawn. My understanding is Mark Megan LEC is withdrawing the NOI. And it is our understanding with Nate from the DEP, who we met at the on-site for the appeal, that the DEP does not typically require a permit for mowing of lawn areas as such, even though it is considered a coastal resource area.
Sure.
The area is a coastal dune. The mowing of that grass would not destabilize the dune in any way, shape, or form. So not only would the applicant like to continue mowing it seasonally, he'd like any permit issued by the ConCom to specifically state for the seasonal placement of beach-type activities such as a picnic table, a porta-john, which was suggested and approved by the ConCom under the NOI, a tent, and/or portable fire pit. So we respectfully request that the ConCom issue a negative determination, box 2, stating that the work described in the request is within an area subject to protection under the Act, but will not remove, fill, dredge, or alter that area. Therefore, said work does not require the filing of a notice of intent, and the proposal is to maintain the existing mowed grass areas for the parking of vehicles and recreational uses associated with beach, including but not limited to the placement of a seasonal tent, picnic table, portable campfire pit, porta-johns, and the like.
So how do we do that without an order of conditions?
Well, like Dave was just saying, it's not going to alter the area. So
Okay.
the big thing here has to do with the mowing. So the question of the commission, is everyone comfortable that this is an area that has always been mowed? Like it's grandfathered as in 1983?
Based on this, I've been there 3 times now, and it's, if you go there, it's very apparent what has been maintained as existing area and what is coastal dune, that they wanted to get rid of the Phragmites, but there's too much other mixed vegetation in there that's indicative of coastal dune, such that DEP was not gonna do it. Also, we didn't realize that when it becomes appealed, it's automatically requires the MIPA filing for that type of area.
Okay, then the other thing is, are you concerned that the dune, thing about dunes is that whatever alteration is done, it cannot impact the landward movement or the lateral movement of the dune. So what they're proposing here, are you afraid that what they're doing is going to have an impact on the landward or lateral movement of the dune?
Well, I can only speak for myself. Have you been there as well? I've been there as well. So it's pretty well defined and pretty heavily vegetated.
This side,
If that dune moves, everybody down there is gonna be in trouble.
Right. And is it like lawn, Dave?
this is like a lawn, yes.
Which
But
is, unusual for a dune, because
It's
usually,
not a formal lawn, but it's a grassy area that's been maintained. The bubble line represents the change in the vegetation.
Grassy and
And it's-
rutted, dirt, like,
yeah,
it's
because
been cleared.
dunes usually, it's vegetated, but it's mostly unconsolidated sediment that can, be windblown.
Mhm.
So if it's not really gonna be windblown, it's kinda really, if it is a dune, it's not a very good one.
I think there's,
No, it's heavily
Or-
vegetated on the landward side, not only with frag, but other
Yeah.
vegetation. And it's very thick. It's so thick that we were down there on the on-site, and the wind was beautiful on the other side, and it was stifling on our side.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
that's
unique.
why you guys moved out of the beach.
Yes.
There's, I think, 4 or 5 well-defined historical campsites down there that have been actively maintained predating the Wetlands Protection Act. And then what had happened was, there was some clearing and cutting down there. Somebody called, reported it to the office. That's how we became aware of what was going on down there. And we sort of were looking to require everyone to come into compliance and at least get formal permits for the activity.
Right, so coastal dunes are likely to be significant to storm damage prevention, flood control, and flood control. So, this is likely to be, it doesn't say it absolutely is.
Okay.
So if you wanna make them formally significant, then I would vote it in, that you think that they're significant to those particular public interests. But if you don't think that, because this is an RDA, if you don't think that that's gonna be an issue, then it's a negative determination.
I'm comfortable with that personally, and
As am I too.
Yeah, the only question would be, do we ask for any markers where the existing lawn is so we don't have any creep? But, I mean, whatever, it's already lawn, I think makes sense to just keep owning it.
Plan's very detailed. When you go down there and look at the plan,
Yeah,
I think you would know if they took a brush cutter to it.
yeah,
you would.
then it's fine.
It's very distinct
Yeah.
where it ends and where it begins.
Right.
yeah, it's pretty well defined.
There are also photos on record from the budding property owner.
That sounds good, Dave.
And then what isn't existing lawn that's been maintained is definitely coastal bank,
Yeah.
so I'm good. Everybody else good? Okay, so is there anyone here this evening, either in the conference room here at Town Hall or on Zoom, that has any questions or comments for the applicant relative to this project?
This is Melissa Gregoire, the abutter. Can you hear me okay?
Yes? Hi, Melissa.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm zooming in on my phone, so I've never used the phone to do this. I was hoping I would come in okay. I just, obviously am the one that, filed for superseding order of conditions with the, DEP. And I guess I just want to be clear that, so that's been removed as an option now. The original notice of intent that was filed is no longer up for consideration.
That is correct.
Okay, I mean, this is what I was assuming would be approved in the first place, because from what I understand, that you are allowed to maintain existing lawn that's there. So I'm okay with that, but my one question is the issue of the porta-potty. I'm not sure how they get transported down there and emptied, and if it's gonna be staying up there all the time, and I don't really know how much grounds we have for any kind of aesthetics, because I guess that's at the discretion of the individual of what's being considered aesthetic, but it is a frequently used area for, the citizens of Mattapoisett and the area, and where it's, a natural, pretty untouched area. By bringing a porta-john in and having trucks coming down and emptying it, I'm not sure that I have any grounds to say that I don't think that that's the best option for facilities. And I know I had brought this up in a previous meeting of, bringing in what other people have done is like a marine toilet or a camp toilet with a little portable hut that gets removed when you're not there using it. So basically, when you're not there, everything's like, if it's a picnic table or something, but I don't know about leaving, there's no pretty portage. There's nothing aesthetic that's there, and obviously you can't build an attractive outhouse or anything. So is that an option for me to put up for debate at all?
What are you doing? Let me take this. How are you using the bathroom down there, everybody, right now? Like, people
So
just
I'm
pooping
not,
in the woods, or
like,
what?
have you seen a camper toilet that's basically, it's only a couple of feet high? It comes with, you fill the top with water, and then the bottom is a holding tank, so it's portable. We basically, myself and the other family that camps down there, we bring it with us when we go down there. And we put a little, it's almost like a changing room pop-up tent that we put the toilet inside of that. And so there's just a little tent, like a maybe 4 foot by 4 foot tent that the toilet sits inside. And then when we leave, we load it in the car and take it with us. So when we come, we bring it down. When we leave, we take it back.
So you're
And
driving
that's-
it there, somebody's driving a toilet there, just like they would a porta potty. Because not all porta potty
yeah.
vehicles are, 6-wheelers. I've seen small pickup trucks that
Yeah, they-
carry porta potties. It's not like everything's a large commercial vehicle.
Right. It's literally the same kind of a toilet that you would put in a boat. It's the same thing as like a boat toilet that if a boat doesn't have a toilet installed, it's portable. It's got handles for you to carry it in and out. It doesn't have to be loaded onto, I mean, you can fit it in a sedan,
Sure. I think
So-
Mr. Dickerson's point was also that porta-johns themselves, as we all know them, are able to be moved by smaller vehicles than large trucks. A small, regular-sized pickup truck is able to transport the porta-john on site, and the same truck also has a small pump and holding tank located on it for pumping.
Okay,
Porta-john.
yeah, I think I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
Yeah, so
But I
there-
guess my question is it gonna be left up all season, or is it gonna be brought down when they're using it and brought out when they're not using it? Or is there just gonna be, I mean, we do get like teenagers down there that like to cause mayhem, and an unsupervised porta-john is possibly asking for.
I think I can answer that question. This is Bill Clapp.
Hi, Bill.
I'd like to speak to the commission.
Yeah, sure, Mr. Clapp, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to have some autistic children down there, and including my brother. My brother's a very big guy, and it's very difficult for him to use a very portable porta-john. I would be planning on removing it after the season, at the every season, and getting it emptied out when it's appropriate.
So are we saying the seasonal use then is from July 1st to August 31st? Is that, or the holiday weekend?
The summer season, when school is out typically.
Okay,
July.
yeah,
June
It
28th.
might be the last week of June to, Labor Day.
sure, okay. Thank you. I would also suggest that find a company that has green and tan so that it blends in with the landscape, rather than fluorescent orange and blue.
Put some pretty lattice around it like the Bay Club.
Yeah, right, exactly. I do think that there are options that are more, shall we say, aesthetically pleasing than others with regard to that. Personally, I don't have any issue otherwise. I think that, given the circumstances, it's better to have some form of sanitary facilities there than none.
Absolutely.
I can think of a few other places to go,
Yeah.
but maybe not appropriate.
Yeah, okay. John, anything to add?
Yeah, no, I think, that's a neighbor to neighbor discussion, not for the.
Sure.
To worry about.
Yeah, I think, given the limited scope of this project, which is just to maintain the existing area and to allow for the seasonal use of the existing area, and to accommodate their family, that generally speaking, the commission does not have any concerns with the placement of a tent, a picnic table, portable fireplace, and a porta-john that's able to be moved, generally. So that's kind of the sense of the commission, Ms. Gregoire.
Yes, oh, no, I appreciate that, and I do appreciate what Mr. Clapp is saying about I have met his brother, and I agree, he is a bigger guy, and he probably would have a challenging time to be placed on one of the toilets, which I'm speaking of. And so I appreciate the board offering a suggestion of making a little more, appealing to the eye for the natural environment.
Yeah, I think if it's-
there's not really, you do need to have a place to go while you're down there.
Sure, yeah, tan and green, I think, will blend in well, and if there is, I think, a way for it to be shielded so that it's less likely to be noticed by, the kids walking by and things like that. Mr. Clapp does have a little bit of tree cover there. Will he be able to tuck it in so that it's not as obtrusive and not as much of a target, I think, for the wandering youth, shall we say.
There'll be a padlock on the porta-john, so there won't be anybody from the public using it.
Okay.
So,
Right.
Sure.
And storm-wise, if we have a storm, it's gonna be moved?
Yeah, the only thing, Bill, would be that if we're gonna have a storm event, you're gonna have to be in a position to be able to get it out of there.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, anybody else, any questions, comments, nothing else? No. Is there anybody here in the meeting room or on Zoom, besides Ms. Gregoire, that has any questions or comments? Yes, Mr. Ozakowski.
Paul Zinkowski, 8 Oak Lawn Avenue. I just want to know where this is going to be placed. Is it near the Whale Rock down there?
So if you're standing facing the ocean and you would like to place a bench to the right on your property,
Right.
this is way over to the left, set back off the dune.
Okay, good. That's all I wanted to know.
So, because we did speak with Mr. Huguenin about the bench, and I know that you're gonna be coming in for
Yeah, I
that.
just got it today, the other day, and
Okay,
I'm in the midst.
as a
of
memorial,
putting it
yeah,
together
for Mr. Mort, which I think is great,
Yeah.
so, okay, good. Anything else? Okay, hearing none, the chair would entertain a motion for a -3 determination. Conditions to be outlined as read by Mr. DeVignen into the record on the RDA application. And the chair would consider a motion for the same.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Francis.
Is it box 2 or 3? Could you check?
3, just because we have the special condition, so -3.
Well, actually, I think they might be right, because -3 is for work in the buffer zone.
Okay.
-2 is if you're working in a resource area, but it will
Ah.
not alter that area, so.
Interesting, thank you for sharing that. I was always told -2 would be that because there's no special conditions to be associated with it, and that -3 would be that if things like notice to the office, and,
You can put notations under any.
Yeah, you can.
all right, so
You can even add it.
rephrase that then, at the suggestion of the agent, -2 determination.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Francis.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dickerson, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion's carried.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good evening, Mr. Clapp.
Thank you.
You're welcome.